So a few days ago, I ended up getting the Memento backpack, the exotic backpack that you can get for the season reward track. Basically, you unlock it at season rank 90. And since then, I've basically just been playing around with it, plugging and playing in my current builds, building new builds around it, just, trying to have fun with it, trying to see what it's good for. So in this video, I'm going to show you one of the builds that I've been using that is really working really well for me. Pretty much just a continuation of the shield methodology that I've been using the last couple of videos. But I also want to talk about the backpack itself, talking about the strengths and the negatives of the backpack. And quickly, just to start it off, I do want to talk about what the backpack is, in case you've never seen it, you don't know what it is, you haven't gotten it yet, whatever. So the key thing to note about the backpack is that it does have 3 core roles. So it doesn't have, like crit or armor regen or anything like that. It comes with weapon damage, armor, and skill tier on it. Plus it also has a mod slot. So it really is the ultimate rainbow backpack. Now where it gets interesting is in the talent itself. The talent is kill confirmed. So what happens is whenever you kill an enemy, basically they're going to drop like a trophy, or if you're familiar with Call of Duty, they drop the, like the dog tags whenever you do kill confirmed. And you have to pick up the dog tags to actually get the points. Well, that's kind of the same thing. Whenever you pick up the dog tag that an enemy drops, you end up getting a buff. So the first buff that you get is a 10-second short-term buff. And basically, every dog tag that you pick up will give you 5% weapon damage, it'll give you 10% bonus armor, and it'll give you 5% skill efficiency. Now, skill efficiency is kind of like a combination of everything. So it's kind of like weapon handling, where it gives you, all these different roles. Well, skill efficiency is the same thing. It gives you, skill haste, skill damage, skill repair, skill health, just, a whole assortment of skill bonuses. So it gives you 1% for each percent of skill efficiency. But in my opinion, the most valuable aspect of the talent is actually its long-term buff. So basically, whenever you pick up a trophy, you get another type of buff, and this one lasts for 300 seconds. So what this does is every time you pick up one, for every stack that you get, and you can get a max of 30, you get 1% weapon damage, you get 1% skill efficiency, and you get 0.1% armor regeneration. So basically in total, that would be 30% weapon damage, 30% for all these skill bonuses, and 3% armor regen. So I pretty much just, put it on my backpack and then just picked a chest piece that would kind of complement it. So in this case, I picked Intimidate because if I pick up those pieces, I'm going to get bonus armor, which will activate Intimidate. And obviously, if I'm going to be up close with Hunter's Fury anyway, why not just throw Intimidate on there? I mean, this is just a test build, so I just wanted to see how it would work anyway. But unfortunately, the build, while good, just didn't have the tankiness that I needed. There just wasn't really enough health on the shield to really allow that playstyle. 4 million is good, but when you're, dealing with spread out enemies and you can't really get these buffs over and over again, it starts to become a little bit difficult. And that's not really anything to do with the backpack itself. That has to do with more of, Hunter Fury's playstyle. You really need to have a strong shield. So basically what I did was I got rid of the Firewall specialization. I switched to the Technician. And of course, getting that extra skill tier gave me a little bit of a tankier shield. But also that gives me the Artificer Hive, which definitely helps me, keep the shield alive when I'm getting into situations. I can at least duck behind a wall or a pillar or something till that, 10-second charge is back, and, just repair the shield that way. So that helps me actually stay a little bit tankier. The other thing I did was I also rolled off my weapon damage on my chest piece and made it armor. So again, with, the chest piece, the holster, the gloves, the 2 from the backpack, and the 1 from the specialization, I will get my shield to tier 6. Now, there does seem to be some weird discrepancies here with how the shield actually works. I'm not sure if it's just a UI glitch. There were some moments where, like, I was not getting the skill tier from the backpack on my actual skills when I was looking at them in the UI. So maybe that's a glitch, maybe that's just a UI thing. I'm not entirely sure. But it is supposed to give me, much more health on my shield than 4 million. So honestly, it was a really good working combination. I mean, constantly being able to just, tank the enemies, not having to worry about the shield going down as quickly, just being able to kind of stun lock waves of enemies that came out of the door. I mean, it was a very good combination. And I mean, just constantly building more and more damage as you collect these pieces. So basically, you're just getting stronger and stronger, and once you get up to 30, you get that good armor regen, which means every time you get bonus armor, you're basically protected for a little while so that your actual armor can recharge if you took any real damage. It really feels like it was designed to work together. However, I still felt that, while the damage was good, I just wasn't able to really be as tanky as I really wanted. But the biggest factor of that was just the Artificer Hive itself was not putting out enough healing. Obviously, I'm invested into armor for my shield, which doesn't invest in anything for my Artificer Hive. And with just 2 skill tiers, I really wasn't getting much benefit from my actual gear yet. So I basically decided that tankiness in this case was much more important than the damage side of things. If I can at least stay alive, then I can do the damage. So what I ended up doing was replacing my chest piece with my Gilligard chest piece. And if you saw it in my last video, this one has kinetic momentum. And it's also got crit hit damage and repair skills on it. Now, repair skills boost the Artificer Hive. Kinetic momentum builds those stacks to give me even more healing on my Artificer Hive. So when everything's said and done, I can repair my shield for a lot more than I could previously. Now, there is some discrepancy on what the Artificer Hive actually does. So in order to answer those questions or disprove the argument, what I did was I just put on a skill tier chest piece, which actually gives my Artificer Hive more healing than my Gilligard. But you can see here, I'm healing about 50% of my shield health. When I change this out, so I'm putting on my Gilligard, which gives me less healing on my actual hive. So I go from like 48 to 41, somewhere around there. So with both stacks of kinetic momentum procced, I do end up healing my shield for a lot more, a significant amount actually. I'm basically hitting about 80% skill repair on it. And that's because I'm getting 60% from double stacks of kinetic momentum. So that's 60% of whatever my Artificer Hive is doing. So if it's doing 40, then I'm going to get 24 extra skill repair. If I'm at 50, then I'm going to be getting 30% extra skill repair. So basically 60% of whatever my skill repair is on my Artificer Hive. So besides for the actual chest piece and the backpack, everything else is, pretty standard. I've got Hunter's Fury with, armor, weapon damage, crit chance, and crit damage. But besides for, all the normal stuff, I think the weapon has a lot to do with how good your build is going to perform. In my experiences and in my testing, the PP19 just feels like a much better weapon for pretty much every encounter. Now, the obvious thing is, why am I not using Cold Relations? Well, the answer to that is, I don't have a Cold Relations that is as well rolled as this PP19. If I did have a God roll Cold Relations, I would definitely be using that. Now, the reason I'm not using the backfire is just because, that 10-second limit where you can only hold on to those stacks for 10 seconds without shooting an enemy. There's plenty of encounters where I build up that full stack and then I just don't have an enemy in sight where I can actually keep that stack alive. And it just feels like a huge waste. Plus, I'm also taking that bleed damage, and, it's not a great combination. I mean, I am getting a good amount of damage when I'm fully buffed on it, when I have the full 200 stacks. But overall, I think the PP19 just feels like a better weapon. I mean, with the stacks that I'm already getting on it, it doesn't really lose that much damage, and it doesn't have any of the risk that you might get from bleed. Also, Lady Death, I tried that. I used that for quite a bit. I just wasn't happy with the way it was performing. I would have to reload way too often. The amount of bullets that I was wasting because of the high RPM, it just didn't feel as good or as effective as the PP19 did. Now, of course, for the secondary weapon, I am using an F2000, and it does have the preservation on it, which is really good, kind of, similar to the MOP. But the reason I'm using an AR instead of a shotgun is just because I'm already, good at short range. I don't need more short range. My limitation is longer range. If I'm trying to shoot the Chunga's weak points from further away, or I'm trying to hit a sniper while I'm pinned down or something, it's not going to happen with an SMG and a shotgun. So for that reason, I do go with the ARs. You could also use a rifle if you'd like. For my pistol, I am using the Liberty, and that's because, my shield is pretty tanky. I mean, it's a Crusader shield, but for a Crusader shield, it is really tanky. It's really, good. With some of the modifiers in Summit, having a strong pistol is definitely beneficial. Now, if you didn't happen to have, tier 6 already with all your stuff, you could definitely use the card custom, gain that skill tier, and that would just, it would be a good pistol to use as well. But I like the Liberty because, I can repair my shield as I'm using it. Plus, I can build those weapon damage stacks on it itself and get even, higher damage on it if I'm just continually using it. So in this case, I definitely like the Liberty more, but the card custom could be beneficial. It just gives your hive a little bit more healing too. Now, as you can see here, on this build, basically my shield is going to be sitting at 4.7 million health, which isn't bad. I mean, that's pretty good. But this is without any buffs. This is without anything on the shield. Now, my Artificer Hive is also going to be healing for 41.2%. Again, without any of the buffs that I'm getting. Like I said, whenever you're using the actual backpack itself, you're getting those skill efficiency stacks, which does increase skill repair. And this does also increase the health of your shield. So when you get full stacks on everything, you are going to have a stronger shield and you are going to have a stronger Artificer. Now, how much stronger? Well, thankfully you can actually see in the stats whenever you have these stacks. So my shield health does go up to 6.4 million at full stacks. And the skill repair on my Artificer goes to 51.7%. So then when I start adding in the kinetic momentum stacks, what I'm going to get is basically 81 or 82% skill repair on my Artificer, which means that I'm basically going to be healing my shield for about 5 million a tick. Pretty amazing for a build that's not really designed around skill healing. So again, using all the synergy to combine to make a very strong, very impressive build. And if you watched my initial take on Hunter's Fury, where I basically said that Hunter's Fury pretty much dies on higher difficulty because you can't, sustain that damage. You can't actually get up towards the enemy. You can't survive this stuff. Well, because of the synergy in this build, because of the ability to combine all these different buffs and all these different stacks, I can have a shield that's tanky enough to stay alive. I have repair ability that can keep that shield alive. I can do enough damage from different stacks that I can actually fight the enemy competently. I can rush when I need to. I can take cover when I need to. I can survive. I can win a fight, right? I can take out medics. I can take out heavies. I don't have to worry about dying every single instant because of, all the regen that I get, all the repair up for my shield. It basically just works wonders. Now, I'm not going to say it's the meta build of all time for Summit. I mean, it just works. It's fun. It allows you a lot of leeway with how you actually play. You can do a lot of different things with it. Now, of course, it still has the same limitations. You might get into a bad situation because you're too close to the enemy. You might notice the lack of long distance damage that you're dealing. But overall, you can survive some encounters that you probably wouldn't with another build. I've got the stacks from Strained on my PP19. I've got the stacks from my Hunter's Fury. I've got the stacks from my Memento backpack. I've got the stacks from my kinetic momentum. And the most important part is they all work well together. I'm not just getting stacks on something that's completely irrelevant. Everything in this build basically works together in tandem. So it is all buffing each other. It's basically just getting huge benefits from every single thing. I mean, my damage is going up, my armor regen's going up, my repair's going up. I'm keeping that shield up even longer. I'm basically, just making it a very heavy duty tank build in a DPS body. It's that kind of efficiency that I've got. And it's gotten me out of some very bad situations. So I'm really a fan of this build. I'm not going to say it's, the strongest tank build. There's definitely safer options out there. One of the other builds that I made with kinetic momentum and the bulwark shield and the Liberty pistol definitely is safer. I mean, I'm getting more repair on the shield. My shield's a lot stronger, and it's better from, I guess, a safe distance perspective. I can easily take out the heavies backpacks. I can easily take out their ammo belt. I can take out support stations, really easily with it, and I don't have to worry about, constantly running up, getting close to the enemy. I can stay further back because I don't have to worry about those buffs. But if that's not your playstyle, if you are more of a run and gun guy and you're more of a solo player, this is definitely your thing. Now, of course, the negatives of the Memento backpack and the Fury combo. To be honest, neither of them are really the epitome of a team build. I mean, they can be used in a group and they can be highly beneficial, but each of them is dependent on you getting kills. So if you're playing with other DPS builds or skill damage builds and you are not getting most of the kills, and you generally at least need 30 kills per section to keep your buff active. I mean, if you don't get all of the kills, if you don't get all these dog tags, you're not really going to keep these buffs active. You need to constantly keep pushing, and of course, when you're with teammates, there's even more enemies, and it's even more dangerous to get flanked. So it does have its negatives. I mean, you can still use it for this purpose. You can still use it to to play with, you know, your friends or with a group or whatever. But honestly, I would probably say it's best for the solo player. It's best for maybe duos. So if you wanted to run with like a skill support build, like somebody with Future Initiative or somebody with Eclipse Protocol, you know, giving you the damage boost and the healing from Future Initiative, giving you the crowd control abilities with Eclipse Protocol, you know, something like that to enhance your ability to actually kill the enemy, that would be great. But when you're dealing with 4 other players, you know, you're probably not going to have 3 other support builds, and being the only DPS on the team definitely sounds like a bad situation to me, to be honest. But, you know, that's up for you to decide. You know, there's so many options that you can do. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one.